During an interview with Nigel Farage this week, Donald Trump actually whined about the fact that he doesn't get enough credit for how big the crowd size was at the Stop the Steal rally on January 6th. Here is what Donald Trump had to say, and I'm going to read these statements, but before I do, please understand that there's several different pieces to what Trump is saying here, because first he tries to downplay the whole thing and then take credit for the whole thing. It's really hilarious. He was asked by Faraj, do you think it was a mistake to have a rally that day? So here's what Trump said. Well, I didn't have. That was a rally that was there. Okay, so right away, totally distancing himself from it. Hey, it wasn't my rally. They were just having a rally and I stumbled upon it. No, you were scheduled to speak at it. Members of your cabinet, of your White House, your chief of staff were helping to organize the whole damn thing according to the people involved with it. So don't try to act like, well, it just happened to be a rally. And I was like, you know what? No, that's not what happened at all. Then he continues. And if you look, it was a massive rally with hundreds of thousands of people. I think it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken to before. But if you would have looked at the crowd size, nobody wants to talk about that. I believe it was the biggest and most people and I've spoken to very big crowds, I have ever spoken in front of a crowd that size. Nobody ever talks about that. Gee, maybe it's because a lot of those people went and performed an insurrection later that day. Did you think about that? I mean, obviously, that's why you're trying to distance yourself from it, right? Because you understand how bad it is. I know you're trying to downplay it and act like, oh, it was no big deal. But you wouldn't have immediately began your statement by distancing yourself from the event, but then trying to take credit for how big the crowd size was. So here's the actual thing about the crowd size. I can't find an official number anywhere. I have been searching. I have been looking. There's no that I can find. If somebody can find it, please do send it. Leave it in the comments so we can know. But I haven't seen any official estimates from it. According to the photographs, the crowd was indeed massive. I'm not going to downplay that at all. But estimates range from maybe it was 5,000, maybe it was 30,000. Trump says hundreds and hundreds of thousands. The problem is I can't find anything on it. And I would like to know what the official crowd size estimate was, because what we do know is that the Capitol police officers estimated that the crowd was going to be between 50 and 500 people. So that's what they prepared for staffing-wise. They thought it was going to be 500 people, and at the very least, I think it was at least 30,000 people. Possibly into the hundreds of thousands. There's no denying there were a lot of crazy, stupid people there. And the Capitol Police only prepared for 500 people. So that's a failure of the Capitol Police, a failure that the January 6th committee absolutely needs to look into. But the fact that the former president is sitting there on British television whining that he's not getting credit for that crowd size, the same crowd that later went and stormed the Capitol, stole things out of the Capitol building. They're now being prosecuted and sentenced to prison left and right. You want us to talk about crowd size? I think that's a mistake on your part, because all that's going to do is show just how many brain-dead morons you've been able to dupe. Because let's be real. That's what that crowd, that's what those rally organizers, that's what those people truly are. Brain-dead cult members. And I don't think Trump wants us to really know how many people fall into that disgusting category.